All right, good day, class. Today we'll be discussing field reports. What is the importance of field reports and what is it for you? Okay, so how to begin? Field reports are often assigned in disciplines of the applied social sciences, social work, anthropology, criminal justice, education, law, and etc., where it is important to build a bridge of relevancy between the theoretical concept learned in the classroom and the practice of actually doing the work you are being taught to do. Okay, so field report is where the field that normally use field reports. Okay, and that's actually correct. No, when we say to learn, to learn or to build the bridge of relevancy between the theoretical concept learned in the classroom and the practice of actually doing the work. It's totally different when you are already in the field that you are planning to, and what is the because what you are doing right now is you are studying the theory and more on the theories just to make sure that at least you have a foundation, so when you're ready in the field, at least you are equipped with all those theories learnings about the field that you are working to. Okay, so field reports are common in certain science discipline, but these reports are organized differently and serve a different purpose than what it is described. So field reports class is very important. Okay, the essence of this you will understand what once you're already in the field. Okay. It facilitates the development of data collection techniques and observation skills, and they help you to understand how theory applies in a real world situation. So basically, when you learn that theories and when you're already in the field that you are now practicing what you've learned, then definitely you can use that. And for there, you can justify what are the theories that's still existing and what are the theories that has no what are the theories that already obsolete and theories that may also no meaning at all in the field that you are working. Okay, and also an opportunity to obtain evidence through methods of observing professional practice that contribute to our challenge existing theories. So this is also interesting because there are theories that you have to challenge their relevancy to what you are certainly doing um, in the field that you are working. Okay. So we're all observer of people's their interactions, places, and events. However, your responsibility when writing a field report is to create a research study based on data generated by the act of designing specific data, deliberate observation, a synthesis of key findings, and an interpretation of their meaning. That's correct now. So, for example, you see a reporter if you watch a news, then there's something that who covered, for instance, covered a concert, then they you will see the reporter probably do reporting what he observed, no, and in there, based on the observation, he trying to interpret it based on the gestures, reaction of the people in there. So definitely, the reporter will not gonna go beyond that. They will not get put speculations or anything. He's just basing off what he observed. Okay. So when writing a field report, you need to what? First, systematically observe and accurately record the varying aspect of each situations. Why? Because it's always approach your field study with a detailed plan about you will observe, where you should conduct your observation, and the method to collect and record your data. So at the end of the day, you will follow the system that you are using uh, when you are planning, so that when you are have a plan to go in a certain field, at least you're prepared. No, you're prepared. Next is continuously analyze your observation. So you have to always look for the meaning underlying the actions you observe. You have to take note that this is an ongoing process of reflections and analysis taking place for the duration of your field research. So always look for the meaning. That means based on your observation, there is an underlying meaning to that. So definitely you have to analyze and evaluate your what observation. Okay, and also keep the report's aim in mind while you are observing. In recording, you must be focused and pay attention to details, right? Enter the observation site with a clear plan about what you are intending to observe and record, being prepared to adapt to changing environment. So make sure that you always go with the core of your field report. So you have to consider that, meaning do not forget the objective that you have. What are the reasons why you're doing that? Okay. And of course, we have consciously observe, record, and analyze what you hear and see in the context of a theoretical framework. So, the theoretical framework guiding you field research should determine what, when, and how you observe and act as the foundation from which you interpret your findings. So, maybe you have to consider the related literature uh, in your study. So, you have to consider that as well. And I'll give you the techniques to record an observation. First, we have note taking. So, note taking is the most commonly used and easiest method of recording your observation. But of course, you can put it in anywhere. Like if you wanted to put it in your cell phone or any devices, that's fine. And eventually, after you have your drop, then you can finalize your work. Okay. So, photography is also important because it can help capture an important moment in time as well as document detail about the space where your observation take place. It can also save time for documenting the details of space that would otherwise require extensive note taking. So this picture will definitely explain it for itself. Okay. So you don't necessarily um, write everything, but when you have this kind of picture, then it will help you out to shorten your writing, you know. And we also have the audio and video recording. So this can be particularly helpful as you gather additional information or insight during your research. So these techniques have the negative effect of increasing how intrusive you are as an observer and will often not be practical or even allowed under certain circumstances and in a certain organizational setting. So audio and video recordings is also vital when you do a field report because in there you can have your own evidences, you have something to backtrack just in case that you miss something, and then you can cut the video and go to the straight to the point. What are the relevance to justify your field works based on the recordings that you have? Okay. Then illustrations and drawings. So this does not refer to an artistic endeavor, but rather refer to possible need, like for example, to draw a map of the observation setting or illustrating objects in relation to people's behavior. Because normally when we see a figures, when we see a graph, when we see a map, then it will easier for the readers or for us to understand it, okay, by looking at the figures. So definitely those illustrations and drawings will help your readers to guide them. Okay. This is the generic format of field report. So we have introduction, then description of activities, interpretation and analysis, and then conclusion and recommendations, appendix, and references. Okay. So let's just discuss this generic format of field report one by one. So in introduction class, it simply describes the research problem, okay? And what are your objectives? You should also include a review of pertinent literature, then conclude your introduction with a statement about how the rest of the paper is being organized. So that's these are the elements, or these are the important factor that we can see on your introductions. Okay. And of course, let's go to the description of activities. This is similar to a well-written piece of journalism, like asking the 4W and each question, like what, when, who, why, for you to be able to figure your field report. Okay. Interpretation and analysis classes always place the analysis and interpretations of your field observations within the larger context of the theories and issues you describe in the introduction. Why is it? Why is it so? Because classes analyze the data, which observations are worthy of the comment and interpretation, which observations are more generated in nature. And it is your theoretical framework that allows you to make your decisions. And of course, it's also interpretation must be based on what you have actually observed. Do not speculate or manipulate your data to fit into your study's theoretical framework. So this is what I'm talking about, class. Now you have to focus what is really happening based on what you see, what you observe, nothing more, nothing less. Okay. So, interpretation and analysis, these are the questions you have to consider in analyzing your observation. Like, what is the meaning of what you observe? Why do you think what you observe? Do you see any connection or patterns what you observe? What are the strengths and weaknesses of the observations you recorded? Do you see connections between what you observe and the findings? So, these are the questions that will definitely help you out to shape your field report. And of course, we have conclusions and recommendations. It shows briefly recap the entire study, reiterating the importance of significance of your observations. Avoid including any information. Then you should state any recommendations if you have, and then the conclusion should not be more than 2 or 3 paragraphs. So the shorter, the better on the conclusions and recommendations. If you have any recommendations. And of course, appendix. This is where you would place information that is not essential to explaining your findings, but that support your analysis, that validates your conclusions, or that contextualizes or related point that helps the reader understand the overall report. Like, for example, figures, tables, graph pictures, maps, drawings. It will help your readers or your audience to understand it clearly what you meant to your field report. And of course, references. So these are the least all sources that you consulted and obtained your informations from while writing your field reports. Be sure to write them in the prepared citation style of your discipline. So it depends what are the type of citation that you want to, like, um if that is online, if that is from the book, then it's all up to you. Well, we have a pattern to that, but as of the moment, we're done discussing that. But of course, we're not gonna go in there. So I hope that you know how to do to write certain references. Okay. And of course, general considerations. We have the 3 C's that we have to consider, like comprehensible. What what comprehensible means? It needs to be understood by a range of potential audiences, like including staff of other agencies, not totally expert in the subject, and local communities that you are writing about. So you better here. You have to use simple, clear language and avoid highly technical terms and flowery descriptions for them to be able to understand clearly uh, about your field report. So the more simple and the more concise, then therefore it's easier for them to understand, because they will not see any hyperlooting words to challenge their understanding based on the terms that you use. Next, we have comprehensive. It must include all the facts and information of any relevance and include notes on checks made which did not uncover irregularities. And then concise, it adds clarity, helps to give facts or conclusions in main body, but calculations, analysis, and list of annexes. All right. So it's very easy to make a field report. I hope you learned something for today. And if you have any questions, just park your question. Then we will talk about that next meeting. So if you have any questions, then write it in a piece of paper so that you won't forget. That's all for today. So thank you for listening and watching. I hope you learned something. Goodbye.